on the planet, and they only gave me a drop. So I'm not thrilled. But still, it's better than no drop. Can you imagine? But anyway, but it's tremendous.
And this has become a globally recognized benchmark, Mr. President. Murban.
It's going to be great. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Very well.
I don't think it's a shift in how we approach, the United States approaches the relationship with the Gulf states on energy. We, the United States, have always had a good relationship. I think it does signify that President Trump realizes and supports continuing that strong relationship and perhaps strengthening it in some way. Well, that's a little more, it's a simple question to ask. It's a difficult question to answer. The United States right now produces about 13 million barrels of crude oil per day. UAE produces a little under 4 million. The world production is somewhere between 76 and 82 million barrels per day. So we can certainly have a very cooperative relationship. And when you talk about strategic, keep in mind the United States oil is produced by privately owned companies. UAE oil, Murban oil, is produced by the United Arab government-owned oil company, and so there is that difference. But we certainly want to work with UAE and ADNOC to coordinate to the extent you can coordinate in a private sector, free market oil market. Well, you sure asked easy questions to ask, but difficult questions to answer. WTI is West Texas Intermediate. It's produced primarily out in West Texas in the Permian Basin. That production now is about 5 to 6 million barrels per day. Brent is up in the North Sea, and it's produced primarily by Norway and Great Britain, with privately owned companies from the United States involved in that production. So, using Murban as a benchmark, you have an oil exchange in Dubai, and I think certainly that strengthens the overall world oil market. And again, our private companies and the U.S. government and the UAE government believe in free market principles, and we want to continue that relationship. I actually think it could. I see no reason why it couldn't. As you well know, and your viewers know, the boycott of UAE and some other regional countries against Qatar has been lifted, and diplomatic relations have been restored. So I think we should try to move in that direction. Well, certainly its API gravity is classifies it as a light crude. It's similar to West Texas Intermediate. It's much better than Mexican Pemex oil. It's much better than Canadian oil in terms of its gravity. So I think it will be part of the basket of crudes that are used in the refinery process where they want the lightest crude oil possible. Well, I certainly, I'm no longer a member of Congress, I'm no longer the chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee. But if I were, I would certainly encourage our privately owned multinational oil companies to work with ADNOC to create mutually beneficial agreements for importation of that crude. As you probably know, I passed as chairman the Energy Policy Act of 2005, which encouraged international cooperation. And in 2016, I introduced a bill with Congressman Henry Cuellar, and we lifted the ban on crude oil exports from the United States. And when that bill became law, it literally changed the world oil market, and I think it changed it for the better. I know that UAE is a member of OPEC, which is an oil cartel formed back, I believe, in the 1960s. And they coordinate production between the member nations to try to maintain a higher price for crude oil. The United States is not a member of OPEC, and as the world's largest oil producer, with the allowance of U.S. oil to be exported, which we now export around, I believe, 5 million barrels a day, the world oil prices are now set by the free market. And they're currently, West Texas Intermediate is trading around $62 a barrel. It's been as high as $90 a barrel in the last 2 years. Murban oil, I believe, is trading a little bit higher, about $64 a barrel. So, but prices are now set by the world free market, not by the Arab oil cartel OPEC, which I think is a good thing for consumers. And it over time makes OPEC a more efficient organization because they have to compete in the same market as the U.S. and Canada and Russia and Mexico and other major oil producers. Oh, my. Well, I believe UAE is an original member of OPEC. They're one of the top 5 producers in OPEC. Of course, you have Saudi Arabia. You have Iraq, Iran, and then I think UAE. I think they're number 4 or 5. That's a diplomatic question that I'm just not privy to the internal workings of the UAE government and their oil ministry. I would love if they would become a little bit more independent of OPEC, but I doubt seriously that they're going to disassociate themselves from OPEC.
Well, that's a great question, Maria. The thing that's so important about our relationship with UAE is that we're very good friends. And Houston, as you know, I was a congressman representing the Houston area. We have a large industry here in which we could share with UAE and help develop. It's really an amazing country. And quite frankly, I think UAE was smart for jumping in there and making a deal with President Trump. And I'm just so excited. I love the people of United Arab Emirates. They're just so wonderful. And I think we're going to grow closer together. UAE and the United States, as you know, we had the University of Rice University here, University of Houston, and we have a very good program. In fact, we have many students from the Middle East here studying petrochemicals and also structure of oil downstream and upstream. And we see more investments, and we believe that the closer ties together, the better and more efficient. As you know, the United States was a primary instrument in finding the oil in the Middle East in the first place. And I think it's really, in Houston, we have the cutting edge equipment to really just expand. And so we're excited about joining together with their friends in the Middle East, and particularly UAE, Saudi Arabia, and some other of our friends there in the Middle East that we really enjoy working with. The Gulf, what is called the Gulf Cooperation Committee or whatever, the GCC, we work with these guys, and we're just so excited that President Trump took the step to expand and enforce our friendship and also enforce our or strengthen our ties together. Yeah, I actually have been at those conferences that ADNOC put together, and I hope that this will set it afire even closer. We've had a long relationship with UAE, and anything like this would actually increase our ties. We also need to increase our ability to extract the oil, even from oil, some of the fields that have played out and not as they aren't producing as much. We have technology now to extrapolate even more oil and gas. And people don't realize, a lot of people don't realize that the oil and gas market and the fluctuation in prices really impacts inflation. So when the Middle East or other countries start increasing production, that drives down inflation. And as we produce and make oil wells both environmentally clean and safe, you're going to see a strengthening of the economies between the two countries. We have $10 trillion, as the president pointed out. We have 10 trillion, not billion, $10 trillion in trade with United Arab Emirates, and we have demonstrated we're good friends, and particularly under Trump, we had some presidents that were sending confusing signals to our allies there, and this time we are friends to our friends, or we should be. And the previous administration didn't believe in that, and really, I believe, didn't treat UAE right. But Trump has now opened his arms and welcomed him into the family. And our top,
even Saudi Arabia.
yeah. I like both countries. I've been to both Saudi Arabia and to UAE, and in fact, I drove across Saudi's desert. It was quite interesting. So I just think that it's about time that we acknowledge they're our friends and allies. There have been bumps along the road, but even in personal relationships, there's bumps. If you're married or you're not married, you have a friend, you have bumps in the road. We had some bumps in the road primarily because of different administrations believe in different things. And quite frankly, I think our friendship has paid off in the long run and will continue to pay off. And I'm just real excited about Trump's trip was just fantastic. I mean, you couldn't have written it better in Hollywood. I mean, just amazing things he's done. And now they're trying to discount, the left is trying to discount what Trump did, but it was really amazing and just so happy that so many more, this is just the beginning. There's going to be more agreements and more investments. And I look forward to it. I would love to work with anybody in increasing those ties.
Well, it's basically the type of oil that comes out of the fields in Abu Dhabi. It's referred to as light sweet crude. Light meaning it's has a lesser viscosity, it flows more easily, and sweet meaning it has a lower sulfur content. So the advantage of that type of oil is that it yields more consumer or more products that are more it yields products that are more profitable than what you would get out of its opposite, which is heavy sour oil, which is does not flow as easily and has a higher sulfur content and is more complicated in terms of refining. So the world demand is for the light sweet crude, which is coming out of Abu Dhabi. Well, I would say that it's not so much the character of the oil as it is the deal that Trump concluded with the UAE and the other nations that he visited. So there will be a significant investment by the UAE in the American economy, and not just in oil. It will involve things like hydrogen, liquefied natural gas, plastics. We're also providing them with semiconductors for AI. So nothing ensures peace like good commercial relations. And I have to say that in the 1920 and 1921, the slogan was "Return to normalcy," and I think that's what we saw this past week in the Trump visit to the Middle East. From the UAE perspective, it was a continuation of Sultan Al-Jaber's theme of "Make Energy Great Again." That was actually on the big blue banner that Trump stood in front of as he was making his remarks. So that continues that strategy on his part. It's a very forward-looking strategy because he is anticipating the day when the oil runs out in UAE, and what are they going to do then? And he's been a proponent of other investments that will take the place of oil when it runs out in whenever it is, probably 100 years or so. On the other hand, from the American perspective, we now have a renewal of the efforts at the Abraham Accords, which is an effort to bring peace to the Middle East by improving diplomatic relations between the United States and the Arab countries, the Gulf nations. And hopefully a collateral benefit of that is improved relations between those countries and Israel. Again, the prior arrangements that have been made with UAE and the United States have led to increased commercial relations between the UAE and Israel. So hopefully that will diffuse the potential conflict, at least between the Arab states and Israel.
It's quite an endorsement when President Trump talks of Murban oil as being the finest quality oil in the world. And of course, he's absolutely right. And I thought it was really telling that he is given this recognition of the new global standard really being set by ADNOC. And I think that when you see the president of the most powerful country in the world recognizing the absolutely significance of high quality oil to successful, thriving economies wherever they are in the world, then that's when you realize that the ADNOC is crucially positioned to be able to provide something that the world needs. And whilst we can talk about other forms of energy, the fact is that the Murban oil quality is so high that it therefore constitutes a massive global opportunity for obviously ADNOC, but more generally speaking, for Abu Dhabi, insofar as it can export this fantastic quality product in the confidence that, Donald Trump is not someone that you fool easily. He seems to understand that Murban is going to be, is in fact the global standard. And I think that's quite an endorsement. And therefore, I'm sure it's just one more step forward for ADNOC on the global energy stage.
During his trip to the United Arab Emirates, President Trump received a drop from Murban, an oil production that is produced inshore and offshore by ADNOC, the leading oil company in the United Arab Emirates. It went viral because of its symbolism. In fact, it shows how President Trump is appreciating the United Arab Emirates' effort in energy production and in oil production. What is interesting is that it inaugurates and it will sustain the potential cooperation between the Emirates and the United States of America in terms of oil production. As a result of President Trump's visit to the Emirates, the two nations will cooperate till the year 2035 in investing $440 billion in oil exploration, energy utilization. That will include Murban. More science and technology are revealing the essence and the constructs of Murban. It's a light crude oil. It is very low in sulfur. It is sought by so many refineries. It is very high quality energy source. And also it is listed in the Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange market. And it has been elevated to the benchmark status, which means that it is tradable and profitable and you can invest in. I'm quite sure that President Trump will talk more about this event and this moment in particular. And I'm quite sure also more studies and more research will be conducted to assess the economic, technological, scientific, and industrial implications and utilization of Murban. I think it also shows an important phase in the energy production effort of the Emirates. Murban will mean more clean energy, more sophisticated production process, and more benefits to both the producer and the consumer. The event that was highlighted by President Trump will be the first step toward the introduction of a new product in energy markets that will change the rules of energy production and marketing for decades to come.